New York Attorney General Leticia James demanded that the Nassau County executive, Bruce Blakeman, rescind a ban on transgender athletes from competing in women's and girls' sports, labeling the ban as discriminatory and transphobic. Blakeman's executive order, signed on February 22nd, prohibited transgender athletes from participating in girls' or women's sports leagues and teams at county facilities, citing concerns about fairness. The ban affects over 100 venues under the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Museums. James asserted that the order violates state civil and human rights law and would subject female athletes to intrusive questioning. Blakeman defended the order, stating that biological males should not compete in girls' or women's leagues. However, he noted that transgender athletes can still participate in all boys or co-ed leagues. Critics argue that such bans contribute to the isolation and stigmatization of transgender athletes and lack empirical evidence supporting claims of their unfair advantage. The story is from CNN by Michelle Watson and Eric Levinson on March 3rd, 2024. And I, of course, have lots to say about this, but I'm going to hear from Cynthia first. So take it away.
You know, I personally like to say that I am more in love with the Black girl magic that is Leticia James. Bonnie, here is your example. Follow it to the letter, because girlfriend demanded. She said, look, you, Mr. Blakeman, rescind the ban on transgender athletes from competing in women and girls sports. Say the ban was discriminatory and transphobic in executive order. And guess what? It is. Because, here's the thing. The problem with any bans on transgender people competing in organized sports is that there is never a real, fair, evidentiary way sports organizations have actually used their boundaries for trans people in sports in the first place. But if we are honest, how can they? Because the funding for actually doing a proper study on how any of these things are affected is just not there. And so instead, what they're going to do is cue bigotry duck here. Is that? Yes. Yes. Because here's the thing. The conversation when it comes to trans people in sports or anywhere is never serious. It's always dominated by mostly bigots. Cue bigotry duck here.
David Duck is a very good bigotry duck.
Yes. Thank you, David. And also, and people who also cherry pick studies or anecdotes like Leah Thomas or Fallon Fox to illustrate their views. It's nonsense. And according to this article, a 2017 literature review of studies published in the journal Sports Medicine found no direct or consistent research on trans people having an athletic advantage over their cisgender peers. And the primary barrier of trans participation in sports was the lack of inclusive and comfortable environments. So if they really want to continue this bigot train, I suggest that they put their money where their mouth is. Empirical evidence, real studies using scientific methodologies is the only narrative that should be entertained if you want to talk about fair. I know they won't, though, because all the ones who push these bans, like Bruce Butthead Blakeman, are only committed
I'm sorry.
to their bigotry. And with that, I like to say, Eli, what say you?
So the first thing I noticed, and this is kind of very off topic, but in the photo at the top of the article of Bruce Blakeman speaking when he signed the order, The little girl in the bottom right-hand corner of the picture was very clearly told to try to look sad. Like she's just doing the whole like, and it just
Right, cue acting skills here.
right. And like that moment, as soon as it loaded, I was like, I'm not going to take this guy seriously.
As you should not.
Right. So I really liked, I wanted to quote Leticia James directly. This is from the article. The law is perfectly clear. You cannot discriminate against a person because of their gender identity or expression. We have no room for hate or bigotry in New York. This executive order is transphobic and blatantly illegal. Nassau County must immediately rescind the order, as you said, Cynthia, or we will not hesitate to take decisive legal action. And I like that. Yes. It's decisive. It's no nonsense. You're breaking the law and you're being an asshole. Knock it off.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I really like the way Leticia James came across here. I just thought it was great.
Yeah, she's great. She's awesome.
So of the ban, Bruce Blakeman said, what we are saying here today with our executive order is that if a league or team identifies themselves or advertises themselves to be a girls or women's league or team, then biological males should not be competing in those leagues. Hey, Bruce, define a biological male for me.
Thank you.
Go ahead. And I already gave a biology lesson this week, so I'm going to skip the lecture this time, but just at me on Twitter, the prophet of ire, or better yet, comment on this video, Bruce Blakeman, because I know he probably watches the nonprofits, right? So Bruce Blakeman, comment on this video. Anybody, give me a definition of a biological male. Drop in the comments, please. I hear this argument all the time, and it's just kind of tiring. You don't understand bodies. You don't understand sex or gender. Stop pretending that you do. And when you do, come back and we'll talk. And when we talk, you're going to agree with me because now you will understand things. Helen.
So, everybody, I'm going to ask my fellow panelists, because you're smart people. Does anyone think that our Blakeman is an endocrinologist?
No.
Knows
Is
anything
Blake
about endocrinology?
No.
I don't think he has a first grade education in biology. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think that he even
You think he
took
studies
biology
sports
ever.
medicine?
No.
Now,
I'm not aware.
I do not recall.
do you
Senator.
think he understands that? There's been a long history of trans people already in athletics.
No.
No, okay, yeah, because he's a dum dum.
Not to.
Yeah.
He's an ignorant dum dum.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that drives me nuts on top of the bigotry, because it's gross. But the other thing that's gross is that he's like biological male, biological female. And as you pointed out, Eli, do you think he showed that to me? And does he know what he means? I don't think he does.
Not even the first clue. He couldn't even get close.
Not a clue. No.
Yeah, but
And I would
using
also
that
like to say,
term biological and gender or male or female in the same sentence shows that you have zero education in biology.
I'm like,
you
absolutely
don't know
zero.
a damn right. Anytime that you hear somebody put through the words biological male, biological female, you have zero education or understanding of even what sex is. Seriously, because like
There you go.
we all know that, and like shout out to Forrest Valkai. I keep on messing up your last name. Valkai. Shout out to Forrest Valkai, who actually covered some of this on AXP last week. And let me tell you, we even talked about the differences, like when we brought up a different story concerning like the complications of just sex. Just sex. We're not even talking about gender. I think that the majority of that, we can all agree that gender is a social construct. But when we're talking about sex in itself, it's not just, oh, you have a vagina or you have a penis. No, because there's gametes, there's hormones, there's chromosomes, there's all these other different things that's like in this soup that is going to make up, the different parts that is sex. So when I hear biological male, biological female, I need you to do one thing. Shut your freaking Tahoe, but you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Sorry, Helen.
So,
go ahead.
no, it's okay. It's all right. So winner, winner, chicken dinner, all to us. Okay. All right. The reason why I bring this up is because they claim that this is rooted in science, y'all. All right. Okay. Well, you did no science, man. You didn't do shit. And you can't hold it up as the scientific standard, but you don't even know what sex means. You can't do it. No, because you don't study this shit. You're a fucking politician, a bigoted politician, is that, and misogynist. Because I hate this, right? We're protecting girls first. I've said this before on the show, and I'll say it fucking again. Stop using us as political props for just because you're uncomfortable with the idea that, wait, penis look like man. Vagina look like woman. Make it work. I can't have public thoughts. And also, I'm like, maybe, someone that identifies as, a different gender, but has different genitals. Maybe you had nutty thoughts and that's making you sad. So I don't know, but get your shit together. Not our problem. And I am sorry. Please, again, do not use women and girls as political props. Because guess what? If we had a problem, and I don't care about sports ball, y'all. I can give two shits. I don't care about sports. But what I care about equality, okay? And if female athletes really wanted trans people out of sports, they can make the whole hullabaloo about it, but they're not. It's politicians, and they're claiming they're being the white knights, and they're taking up the sword, and we're gonna fight the trans panic, y'all. Fuck you, and fuck you, and a big fat quack. Oh, Bruce. There you go. It was bad timing. Bruce, Blakeman, you are a bigot, and I think that you need to do some growing. And that was it.
I would just like to put a further plug for Forrest Valkai. He has a couple of his own videos on YouTube that specifically go into detail about what sex is and what gender is. And the part about sex, the actual biological part, is probably the clearest and most straightforward explanation of it that I wish I'd had in one of my classes, but that I have ever heard, and I recommend it to anybody who wants to know more about what actually is going on when you develop genitalia or anything, or non-genitalia, or if you're intersexed, or if you're other things. It's so nuanced, but he'll give you down to the name of the genes involved and the proteins involved and how it works. So shout out to him. He is an outstanding educator, and I think that everybody should watch his stuff.
Can we please live in the world where we have comprehensive sex and gender education in schools? Can I live in that universe?
No, you may not. Please? You're in Florida. You don't get that.
You don't get to have nice things. We covered this already earlier this week, Helen.
John, the video you're talking about, it's called Sex and Sensibility for anybody who wants to check it out. Sex and Sensibility by Forrest Valkai. That is how I learned it. Like that is like I've taken biology in high school. I'm studying it now. That video is how I finally got it. And it's like, you're absolutely right. It is so good. It is so clear, and it breaks it down. He does an amazing job.
Amazing job. Yes. Sex and Sensibility. Look it up, folks. It's on YouTube. Anyway, I might get a little bit perturbed here. I have so many trans friends, and I'm still a little pissed off about next. So, Bruce Blakeman, stop being a bigoted dick, okay? Just fucking stop. If you are interested in biology, email the show, and I will be happy to enlighten you as to the social, personal, and biological facts with a simple playing of a few YouTube videos, like I just said, from actual experts. Email me, and I will send you the links, and I will. And I'm serious about that. You really do need to get more educated. So when you're, even if you don't change your mind on that and still try and do this shit, at least we will know that you are a disingenuous prick. So just because you can write an order does not mean it's legal, ethical, or moral. Hope the AG, Leticia, slams your anti-freedom and anti-American ass into the dust. This is just a continuation of the war on the rights of marginalized people, war on anyone who is not cis, het, white, and male. Now, I do manage to meet the cis, white, and male part, but I'm not hetero, so I'm gay. So screw you, Mr. Blakeman. And that's not an offer, by the way. So this is a continuation, and I just think that. But I am going to say bravo to Leticia James, AG. You are now my most favorite person of this century so far. At least you know there is no evidence that transgender athletes have any advantage whatsoever. More importantly, studies trying to determine the differences found nothing at all, zero. So I'm glad you understand that, and you are following through with supporting the civil rights of people in your state. I just wish you were on the national scene as well. Speaking of which, you ever think of running for, anyway, I won't go there. Anyway, that's a 2017 literature review of studies published in the Journal of Sports Medicine found no direct or consistent research, as we had talked about before. The very idea of the anti-trans movement is orchestrated by the right-wing demagogues from whole cloth. They're making a silk purse from a sow's ear. This is a pre-planned attack on the national level by propagandists in right-wing think tanks and distributed throughout the country. I'm looking at you, Heritage Foundation, as a coordinated attack on marginalized groups who are picked as candidates for abuse to keep the uneducated obedient to their whims. Done by fear-mongering lies about the 2S LGBTQIA communities, and that the bigoted think of as icky or gross. That's all right. I think your stuff is icky and gross too. So to each their own. Ash Ora, the media relations manager for the National Center for Transgender Equality, said in a statement about the executive order and similar legislation nationwide would have a direct and damaging impacts on the lives of transgender athletes in Nassau County and lead to further isolation and stigmatization of transgender athletes, as well as contribute to the broader cultural narratives surrounding the trans community. Lay off the trans people. They're like 0.01% of the population. Most schools don't even have, or they only have one or two or a few transgender people out of thousands. So just knock it off. Take your religion back to your church, which I'm pretty sure that if you're a member of some of these groups, you don't even go to church. Just stop with the crap, okay? It's not good for the people you're abusing, and it's not good for you because it's destroying your moral character as well. So anyway, I'm glad that the good news is the order has been given a short life, as the AG has. Yes, and she is the same one who indicted, who, sent a cease and desist letter as the order violates state law and the Constitution. So if not rescinded, I am sure, like she said, it's going to go to court very quickly. And the piece of shit Nassau County executive, Bruce Blakeman, will be defeated in court, and his little grab for fame and street creds will fail. So fuck this guy.
Forever.
Yep.
Repeatedly.
Amen.
There is another way I
yeah.
could say that a sailor would say, but it is actually too gross to say on any television. So I'll tell you all
Can
later.
I say my favorite curse?
Yes.
I hope he gets murder hornets in his pee hole.
Not murder hornets. Oh my gosh.
It's my favorite curse.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I could say my favorite curse. I could say my favorite curse really
Talking
quickly.
about biological sex now, man.
Yeah, my favorite curse is really cool. May you be on a dinner date and have explosive diarrhea and projectile vomiting.
Oh my god. Okay, so
And
that's
get
how
murder
we're,
hornets in your pee hole.
and that's how we're wrapping up this this
so far
this
afield of the
episode.
topic.
Yeah, Eli, you have to do your final favorite curse that you would like to put on.
My favorite curse. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, that's your final thought.
Fuck you forever is one that I use a lot. I said it about somebody after the last show, and just fuck you forever is my kind of classic go-to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I echo everyone's sentiments on here, and I'm just going to use my schoolyard term of Bruce Bigot Butthead Blankman. You got James. Shots fired. You got James. And when you hear you got James, every bigoted politician should flee. But you shouldn't flee, dear viewer, from the nonprofit. So click here for more content. Right there. There you go.